Hey everyone, I'm going to react to Spy Family, episode 15, a new family member. Last episode was Anya and Wolf. I keep calling him that because that's the only thing he says. They figured out that there was Wolf saw the future. Anya read his mind. So they figured out that there was going to be this bomb that was going to kill Lloyd. So they located the location and then they tried to disarm her, but she doesn't know how to disarm a bomb. There was this ketchup or something over there, and then she designed something about a bomb over there. So she basically saved Lloyd's life. And then Lloyd had sort of like ambushed the man to Keith. I think that was his name. He lured him someplace, and the dog that had the bomb on him, he lured the dog into this alleyway, and then he shot at the dog, and that's where the episode ended. So before we get into this episode, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please consider supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/feelme. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. No, before I got into this episode, I finished reacting to 2 episodes of Mob Psycho 100, and I decided to watch Mob first before I watched Spy Family, because there were things happening in that show that I felt like was gonna make me feel sad, and I knew that this show would be the one thing that could get me out of it. And I was right. Like, after watching Mob, I was just like crying. My eyes were red, and I went and like washed my face a little bit just before I got into this episode. And I knew they were gonna make me laugh. And yeah, Anya is just so adorable, man. Like, she is so adorable. And she finally gave Bond a new name, Bond. That's what she's calling him now. She's like, okay. Let me tell you about your roots. So she named him after a Bond man, and that show that she watches. Okay, last episode ended with Mob. Oh my goodness. Ended with Lloyd luring the dog into this alleyway, right? Oh my gosh. I remember me trying to figure out a word for alleyway during that episode. But yeah. So he lured the dog into this alleyway, and then he was pointing the gun at the dog. And I think I said before that I thought it might be like a tranquilizer gun, but no, it wasn't. It was a real gun, and he just used it and shot off the bomb that was around the dog. He basically shot off the shackles, I guess, and then the dog was like bit on his arm, and then he took the thing and launched it over himself into the water. And Keith, because the dog was on him and he thought he was the minister, he just like pressed the button, but then the bomb was in the water. So, and then when after he was done, there was all this smoke, over there from the bomb and everything, and he was just walking in the smoke. I don't know, that shot was pretty cool. And Keith figured that he wasn't the minister, and he just like ran away. But Lloyd had looked at the tag, but the tag number of the car, but that didn't really come into play because Yod was still searching for Anya, and then she sees Keith coming, driving, and then she recognized him, and then she just like jumped off the bridge, was in the window, just like kicked the car. I'm like, girl, how strong are you? Like, we see her, like, what episode was it? I don't know. When she like kicked one of the terrorists and they got ping-ponged over the wall, all over the walls and everything. Like, you know how strong she is, but it's like so strong enough to kick a car into a pole. It's like, girl, I have put a poll on my channel about who will win a fight between Lloyd and Yor, and I was like, my money is on Yor, and like most of the people that voted also agreed with me. Let me see, 75% was like Yor and 25% like Lloyd. So it's like she is freaking strong, and I don't see Lloyd ever being able to take her. So it's like, let's hope that moment never happens where they will have to face each other or anything. But yeah, so they arrested all the terrorists and everything, so that situation is handled. And now the dogs, they were like, okay, what are we gonna do about the dogs and everything? I think they said they were gonna leave the dogs at the shelter over there or someplace. I don't know. But Lloyd was making his way to the girls, and then Yor was also looking for Anya, and then Anya was just like coming the other way, and they all met up at this particular point. You know, I think it was where Lloyd had just kind of come out of the meeting with the handler and everything. So when they got there, and they basically explained what happened to Lloyd off screen, and he was like, he couldn't believe that they were also involved in this fight. And then the handler came out, and she's like, okay, we need to take this dog away and everything. But and you remember, you know, the flash the dog had seen the future with them, you know, and everything. So she's like, I want to keep this dog. And they're like, no, you can't let you keep this dog, you know, and everything. But then she's like, if you don't let me keep it, I'm gonna be bad and not go to school anymore. We should put project what's it called again? Whatever. We should put Lloyd's plan into jeopardy. And then the handler was like, okay, it's okay, you can keep the dog. And then he told Lloyd to just keep an eye on the dog, since the dog was part of project what's it called again? I'm not forgetting the name. Either way, so he was like, she was like, keep an eye on her and dog, I guess. And they also revealed that the handler had a daughter. I feel like you said she had a daughter, like she doesn't have a daughter anymore or something. I wonder if the daughter is not there anymore because of the war, and that's also why she's so dedicated into stopping war erupting between the East and the West. But yeah, so the dog came, and they were like, we need to name the dog, right? Or it was, yeah, you need to name a dog. And then that's when the dog went to this sort of a flashback where they called him number A. And then he was shocked, and, you know, all the things that they did to the dog and everything. But now he has a new home, you know, with Yor and the others. So Anya was thinking that because they saved they were to stop this terrorist, that she was gonna get a star. But then Lloyd told her that that was not gonna happen, because they kept everything under wraps, and she better not say anything at school. So she's like, okay, if I'm not gonna get a star, then I guess we're just gonna have to go back to the friendship scheme. So she got to school, and then she had this imagination. Like she had this scenario in her head about telling Damien that she has a dog now, and then them becoming basically friends. So when she went to school, Becky showed up, and she told Becky about having a dog, and Becky was like, yay, you know. And she was like, okay, I want to go to your house to go see this dog or something or other like that. And in her mind, she thinks the way Becky reacted, that's how Damien was going to react. So she goes and tell Damien that she has a dog, and Damien is like, so what? And she's like, shocked. You're on the floor. And then you have, once Damien's friend's name, Emil and Ewan. They were there. Were like, oh my gosh, you brought her down to her knees with just one word. It was perfect. And then Damien felt bad because he felt like what he said wasn't really. Was like, was that mean? Was that mean? And looking at Anya, he felt bad, so he asked, what's the dog's name? And Anya just said dog. Because she doesn't have a name for him yet. So they just left. They're like, I'm not even going to deal with you. So they just left. So now she's going around. They went to the dog park and she was going around like asking people what they call their dog and what made them name the dog like that and everything. And then she came back with just giving out all these long names. I'm like, girl, that's not gonna work. And Lloyd and Yor were like, okay, we need to go. But she realized that she lost her gloves. And then there was this one dog that had the gloves in her mouth. So Anya ran there and tried to get the dog, but then the dog intimidated her. And, she was crying, but then the dog was like, met Bond. And now Bond scared the dog and then he dropped the thing and, that was cool. So yeah, when he gave her the gloves, that's when she remembered this episode, I guess, of the show that she watches about Bondman giving some kind of, was it a scarf or something other to the princess, whatever her name was. And she's like, oh, you have the dog that brought her gloves. And then he's like, the dog's feet also have like sort of like a different color. So she was like, so you were also wearing gloves just like the Bondman wears gloves in the show. So he's like, I'm just gonna call you Bond. So yeah, now the dog has a name and everything. And it seems like the way she's gonna be, I mean, they were at home and then she was like giving the dog food, and then he was like, okay, so do you want, she wants, that Bond wanted to go to the bathroom basically. And I feel like that's how she's gonna be knowing how to take care of the dog. What the dog needs is by basically reading the dog's thoughts, So yeah, love this episode. Thank you guys for watching. And if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. And if you want to see my reactions to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/feelme. And you can also see the full length of this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.